Hello and welcome to Valley Viewpoint. Have you seen that sunshine? And it's getting warmer, and spring is on the way. And here to talk about spring and spring activities for high school students is Eli Stanshew, who is the athletic director for Walla Walla Valley Academy in College Place, Washington. So Eli, welcome to the program. We're excited that spring is here and the snow is melting, and we are just gonna get ready to have some real fun. Tell us, because I think probably many people in our audience know what a coach is.
Yeah.
You know, they've been through Little League, and if they didn't coach it themselves, they brought their kids there. But not everybody knows, what is an athletic director? What does an athletic director do?
Yeah, so we do all the stuff behind the scenes.
Okay.
I mean, there's all sorts of different things we're a part of. Scheduling, number one, is always a big one. We're always scheduling ahead of time. Talking with coaches out of season and during season. Talking with players and students, and working with their schedules and making sure they are healthy and have their grades up so that they can participate in the sports that we are offering.
Oh, so you have to be the bad guy and tell the student that's got the F that they can't go?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's tough.
Sometimes you got to be the bad guy. That's not fun. That's not the fun part, but there's a lot of good about being a part of those kids' lives and just being down at that school.
So what do you like about your role as the athletic director? Obviously not having to tell a student that your F is keeping you out of the game or the meet this week.
Right.
But what is it that really excites you about this job?
So I have always been a sports person. My favorite sport that I grew up playing was baseball. Mm-hmm. But I grew to like other sports, and when I had my second son, as he got older, he got into soccer.
Okay.
And that was really kind of a foreign sport to me. I knew the basics, but I didn't know much about it. And then I ended up actually coaching him as he went through like Walla Walla Rec here in the Rec and Parks. And I learned a lot, which was really fun to actually learn information about another sport. So probably the best part about what I get to do is learn like track, more about track, because that's the one that's also I don't know the most about. Even volleyball is another one that we did this fall, where I learned a lot other than just the 3 hits and get it over, compared to a lot more to that.
So what position did you play in baseball?
So I played first base and third base.
Oh, you got the corners.
I had the corners. Probably in the sense of just that's the most that I played. I kind of played everywhere. I even did some pitching, but I was never really a good pitcher. But first base was my favorite. I really enjoyed playing first base, probably because a lot of the action always comes to that position on either the hits or fly balls, even infield, or grounders, of course, to infield. So, yeah.
So when you were a kid, did you have a favorite first baseman that you said, I want to be like that guy?
Yeah. So maybe I did. I had a favorite center fielder, but I had a favorite probably would have been John Olerud. Was my kind of my first baseman favorite.
See, Blue Jays, right?
He was with the Blue Jays. He ended up playing for the Seattle Mariners. He's actually a Washington native.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
He actually went to Washington State.
Okay.
And so anyways, that's beside.
He's a Palouse guy.
He is a Palouse guy, yep. But yeah, no, so there was a lot of players that I liked, and I always wanted to just kind of follow when I played. So
now, coincidentally or not, baseball is one of the spring sports that you will be overseeing. How many sports does Walla Walla Valley Academy participate in the spring?
So in spring we have the 3, which this is a new one because I haven't had 3 sports yet. We have track, we have golf, and we have baseball. So that's really kind of exciting. I'm excited about this year because there seems to be a lot of kids participating in all 3 of those, which is a really good thing for that school.
So what percentage of the student body would you say, maybe not just spring, but maybe there's some that did basketball in winter or did soccer or cross country or volleyball in the fall. What percentage of the student body would you say is involved in at least one of those activities during the year?
I think probably for everything where you could, even if somebody plays one of those sports, I would say probably at least 60 to 65% of our students. Honestly, like I was really surprised how many kids were coming to our meeting for track, and that was really great. And it just seemed like there was a few of those kids who hadn't done anything yet, so that obviously bumps up that number. So yeah, I mean, that's exciting. So I would say more than less.
So you're talking about 2/3 of your student body is participating in at least one of those extracurricular activities.
Correct.
Now, that has to be something like a state record or something. I mean,
it might be. I'm not
amazing.
sure. I have a theory that maybe because we're coming out of COVID, that these kids are like, hey, I finally can go do something. Maybe that's why we're having big turnouts. I hope it just keeps continuing, of course. So that would be great. Yeah.
So tell us about some of those behind the scenes things that you have to do to keep this thing rolling.
Yeah. So there's a lot of meetings and a lot of emails and phone calls. Once a month, I will go to our EWAC, is called Eastern Washington Athletic Conference. And we all of us athletic directors meet once a month, and we go over what's happened, what's going to happen, and even future events, and just kind of meet up and talk about different situations that may have come up at a game, or just talk about what can be better for scheduling, different things like that.
Okay. So there's a lot of things, a lot of loose threads that you're trying to weave together to keep this thing going.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, like, I mean, there's a lot of behind the curtain, like just like maybe a play, like there's always people in the backstage who are trying to get the prop ready or something. So I feel like I'm kind of that just person running behind everything, making sure everything's taken care of, not, make sure kids are available to play. Obviously try to communicate as best I can with all of my coaches, especially during that season. So yeah, no, there's a lot that happens that nobody probably sees as like you would think might happen.
Now let's talk about the kids, because this really all revolves around the students, not around the coaches, not around you as the athletic director.
Yeah.
It's for the kids, it's with the kids. You said that you enjoyed coaching soccer. It was new to you, but you enjoyed this because your son was involved with it.
Yeah.
What benefits do you see the athletic program at the academy, where you are the athletic director, having on the students?
Yeah, I feel like number one, just having a physical, maybe like a physical workout, if you will. I mean, we all have different things we have to do for each sport. Just getting good exercise is a key. It's obviously a good, healthy thing to do, number one. But I also feel like kids also know like it helps them with their grades. I feel like, because then there's a mark that they set, and they have to stay at that or above it. We obviously always like people to stay above, but I mean, there's a certain level that you have to be at when it comes to your schooling, and so that's, I feel, important, where it's like, hey, if I don't turn this in, I may not get a play. So I feel like there's a lot of good different aspects about playing sports, not just to get out there to win. I don't think winning is necessarily the one thing that you're going for. I feel like participating and creating bonds with teammates, even across other schools. I mean, I remember playing, and I had some good friends who I played against, and we had some good relationships through the school years, or even through the summers when we played. So I think there's a lot of good about being a part of athletics.
Now, you're talking about the good. I know some people focus on the negative.
Yeah.
And we've all heard about the parent that comes to the basketball game and gets angry and yells obscenities at the referees and maybe makes a lot of noise and makes a scene.
Yeah.
What can an athletic director do to change that culture or that negative kind of atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, when it happens at a game, you definitely. I've actually had to do this already this year. I had to go and address that to that fan. I told them that, hey, this is your last warning. If you keep up your actions, you will be sent out of the gym. I feel like to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future, that has to be addressed to parents before seasons even start, which is another thing that an athletic director has to go do, and go talk to parents maybe and talk to people, and also have some other people on your side who can maybe help you out if you're not at that situation. Maybe you're somewhere else. Just communication and just talking. We all get frustrated at times. We've all been there where, hey, maybe it didn't go our way.
And the referees aren't perfect. They do make mistakes.
And honestly, like, so my dad was a school teacher, and so I have a lot of respect for school teachers. And I've kind of always turned that with sports. Like, a referee is kind of like that person in the classroom for the kids. They're the person who's in charge.
Yeah, and the teacher's not perfect either.
Right, and you're not trying to necessarily change how something's going, but somebody has to be there to regulate if something happens, calling out, or, hey, that's the first person to cross. Somebody has to call that. So I feel like, fans need to respect officials, refs, different things like that. And yes, we all have our times where we maybe get a little frustrated, but at the end of the day, it's just a game. Really nothing much more is going to happen whether you win or lose that game, because we all still have to go on with our lives.
There is a baseball field, a Little League field not too far from where I live that I walk by often when I go for a walk. And there's a sign on one of the fences. All of our umpires are volunteers. If you don't like the call, volunteer.
Yes. I think I've read that sign. I remember seeing a sign like that too. Yeah, I believe. And everybody who most little leagues, everybody is just a volunteer. So everyone is giving their free time to help to be there for your child also, whether they're an umpire or a coach. Be respectful and try to just lay back a little bit. Yeah, it's not always going to be the way you think it should, but at the end of the day, if your kid's having a good time, that should be the main point.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we would like to talk more about the specific sports that are in spring, and also a unique situation that you have as an athletic director at a Seventh-day Adventist institution, and the role that your Sabbath observance plays in the things that you have to decide as the athletic director.
Yeah.
So don't go away. We're going to be right back with lots more about spring sports. We're going to make it feel warm in your living room because spring is here. Hello and welcome back to Valley Viewpoint. If you are just joining us, my guest today is Eli Stanshew, the athletic director at Walla Walla Valley Academy. So we were talking about spring, and there are 3 sports. We're getting out of the gyms now.
Yes.
Volleyball is a gym sport.
Yep.
Basketball is a gym sport. None of these are indoor sports. The kids are going to get outside. They're going to run around.
Yes.
They won't have to wear a mask.
No, they don't have to wear a mask.
They're going to have some fun. So let's break it down sport by sport. Let's start with the one that you are very familiar with, baseball.
Sure. Yeah, no, so baseball, yeah, I've been a coach there also for baseball the last 4 years. So this will be my 5th year also being a coach, and number 1 being an AD. So that's kind of a tricky one because I definitely know I probably have to take a little bit of a step back on that, but that's okay. Looking forward to it. I have a lot of kids coming back who I had last year, but I also have a lot of freshmen. So that's a good, exciting thing to have because you just need more kids always coming through. Yes, my second son is playing this year, so that's another one that's exciting for me. And it'll just be a good opportunity just to be outside in the sunshine and the spring, and looking forward to that. I really enjoy baseball, and that's just been kind of my sport that I've done.
Now I understand that baseball runs on its pitching. So how are you stacking up for pitching this year?
Yeah, no. So I have at least 3 good pitchers. I lost about 4 last year, so I really had a lot the last couple years. But this year we have 3. We're gonna have to just start developing younger kids to have to take over as the time goes on.
Is that part of the fun of it?
That is part of the fun of it. Yes. Honestly, like being able to offer some information to a kid and they can take that and grow with it and all of a sudden really become a better player, that's always what a coach wants. I mean, you want your best for everybody who's out there participating.
Now I understand there are a lot of professional baseball players or basketball players or even football players that like to play golf to unwind.
Yes.
This is one of the sports that's going to be featured this spring, and I understand that it is the only sport that Walla Walla Valley Academy has a state championship in. So tell us about the golf program and how that's going.
Yeah, no, so golf is going to be a good program this year too. We have, I think, double the kids this year than we had last year. Which is about 12 kids are signed up for golf this year, which is exciting. Again, a few of them haven't even done it, so our coach will definitely have a little bit of some work there to work with the younger ones. But hey, I think at the same time, any coach really loves when somebody's interested in a sport that they teach, and I feel like that's a good challenge for all of us.
Are you a golfer?
I have. I played a little bit more when I was younger. As time went on and my kids were around, I spent more time with my kids just to do whatever they were doing.
So you're not willing to publicly reveal your handicap?
I don't even really know what my handicap would be. It's not good.
Well, if you golf like I do, I mean, it's all mulligans too. You need mulligans.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then you have track, and you said you had a good turnout for a meeting the other night.
Yeah. I think we have about 20 kids who signed up, for track, which I believe is a really good number for what we have. I know, I don't exactly know the bar on that, but I believe that it was this really good to have that amount of kids showing up. I also just to see like how many people want to participate in spring sports. And again, just get outside. It's time to get outside and just run around and not have to deal with an inside gym or any of that. Yeah.
Now, you have a unique challenge at a school which is operated by Seventh-day Adventists because according to the school's religion and policies, your teams will not participate on Friday evening or on Saturday.
Yes.
So how does that work out? How do you deal with all the other schools that schedule events and so forth?
Luckily enough for us and our WAVA, the league that we're in has been pretty good about, if we had to reschedule games, say they have a game that comes on a Saturday and we can maybe move it to a Friday or even a Thursday. The league is pretty open-minded about that, and honestly, like even with our basketball we went to when we were going towards districts, they moved a game from a Friday to that next Monday for us, just to accommodate obviously our Sabbath. I will say I love being able to work at a Seventh-day Adventist school. My dad worked for the Upper Columbia Conference his whole life, and I kind of grew up in that, and I love it. And I think it's the opportunity to work at one myself. It's really awesome. I love our school. I love the idea of a Seventh-day Adventist beliefs and my kids growing up in that.
Now, there is a story emerging in another state, in Alabama, where another Seventh-day Adventist school qualified for basketball championships. They were given a game in a time slot that was in conflict with their religious beliefs, and the state would not make an accommodation, and the governor of the state is now looking into the situation, apparently not happy that the leadership there did not make an accommodation. And I understand that the only change they were asking is, instead of having a game at 4:30 in the afternoon, let's have it at 7:30, and that the schools that had that 7:30 slot were willing to switch.
Yeah.
But didn't. So have you ever been in a situation like that?
I haven't yet. My hearts go out to those boys who stood firm and they're like, my faith and Sabbath is more important than a championship game. And I think that's amazing, and I love that. I love hearing that. I personally haven't had to, go up the chain to keep talking to people about changing a schedule for us yet. I'm not going to say that won't happen, but I'm hoping that with some where things have set in the past, that they would maybe keep following that, and we won't have to run into that. But I definitely know if that happens, I will be on the phone or texting or emailing a lot. It's just to change it.
There are coaches that I've interviewed before that say they enjoy coaching because it's character building for their athletes. So what kind of standard are we setting if we're asking athletes to deny the things and their values and so forth in order to win a trophy? So it seems like this is counterproductive to be telling a team, well, we're not going to make an accommodation, you change.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a kind of a mess for that state, for their sports, for high school sports. And I hope that whoever can support them, up front. I know prayers are always great from all around, but this story is, in one way, yeah. I mean, I've never necessarily been there. I don't know any of those people down there, but it's close to us because I work at a Seventh-day Adventist school, also a high school, where something like that could happen, and you would want the same support around the nation that they're getting right now.
How can people who are watching right now support your program at Walla Walla Valley Academy? Do you accept volunteers? Do you accept donations? What can people do? What are your needs? Yeah,
no, there's always time for you could always use another hand. Somebody can come by. I will say in the coaching part of it, you definitely, there's a little bit more to just coming down and just doing it. But at the same time, I can talk with people and then see where their interest may be. And, I like my coaches, so they do a good job. I don't necessarily want to push anybody out right now. But, anybody can come down and even just support. I mean, just come watch a game or go to a track meet. And of course, donations are always wonderful as well, towards the sports program. We have a lot of different things that we would like to obviously add to our sports program, especially outside. I mean, we've talked about, what would be nice to add for the track team. And I know Joe Regulato, the coach for baseball, we've talked about working on stuff for dugouts. There's always something that we would love to maybe just add, and donations, and even sometimes we just have work bees where maybe more people can just come down and just help us clean out stuff or clean up a field or something. It's always great.
Now I hear from a lot of different schools that there is a shortage of bus drivers these days. Do you have a line this long of people that you can count on, or is that something that is a need where you are?
Yeah, no, so that's a need for us just as much. I have 3 currently.
So that's 1 for each team.
Yeah, there's and 2 of those
And they can't get sick.
Right, they can't be sick, and so there's been a shortage on bus drivers everywhere, and it's definitely tough on getting people to transport our kids to events and games. But we just keep trying. We always figure it out some way, somehow. So
what is your website in case people do want to contact you?
So you can contact me through athletics@wava.org.
And WAVA is WWVA.
WWVA. Or you can even call, and I don't actually remember the number to our school, but
I think we have it on the screen
Do we
as
have it?
525-1050.
there it is. Yeah, you can call and ask for me, and I will at least try to get back to you, either however I get a message or some way.
Listen, we're running out of time. We're going to have you back so we can talk more about the end of the season, perhaps.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us for Valley Viewpoint. If you have an idea or a concept for a future viewpoint, or if you'd like to be my guest, why not call the station at 509-529-9149, or you can email me at valleyviewpoint@bmt.tv. For Viewpoint, I'm Dan Solis.